you asked me at the beginning of this conversation, do you consider yourself a creative person? I should sort of reflect on that because I was very uncomfortable answering that.
Yeah, I noticed a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna free you up so that you're never uncomfortable
Yeah,
again.
it's scary to say that about yourself, to
Because
sort of
you
allow
think
yourself to.
there's a lot of people who go, well, you're not an artist, you're not a
Yeah,
creative,
yeah,
but no, you're not saying I'm an artist. I'm saying I'm a creative person, but that's an artist too, isn't it? Artist isn't necessarily a guy with the French
right.
mustache and the funny hat. That's not necessarily what artists are. Regular people,
Yeah.
and regular people relate to art that's imperfect. If you can make art that's perfect, no one will relate to it. So when you think about it like that, you go, well, I can make imperfect art. So yeah, I'm an artist. And if you have doubt, you're an artist. That's an artist. Real artists always wonder if they're good enough. So you are an artist. Just by the fact that you had uncomfortable saying it, you're a real artist.
Yeah, and there's some degree, I don't know if you could speak to this, but there's a fear of creating shitty things. I've created a lot of really shitty things in my life, and it always feels like that's really important to do.
Okay, but you're judging something that you have no business judging.
Right.
Like I have so many people. That's why I like making movies on purpose that have less money and less time. On purpose. Like the biggest movie I said all time on Netflix is We Can Be Heroes. I told them I don't want to spend more than $50 million. I know you all want to give me 80, but I want to be a hero and come in at 50 because one, it'll make it better. And then two, you'll make three of them instead of just one. I don't want to just go spend the farm. And not many filmmakers will do that. They'll try to get as much money as they can. But when you're spending less, it's a win-win situation. And you have more creative freedom because they're going to leave you alone. You can do whatever you want. So
Yeah.
I like the creative limitations that come from less money. That's why I like Brass Knuckle Films. Like we're going to make them for less so that they are better, not because they're not to make them shitty. So many people have come up to me and said, you know what part I love in your movie? And they'll tell me some scene. I'm like, oh, well, that's because we ran out of sun and we had to like do that jump with just him jumping on a pad 3 times or whatever it is. It's something that you fumbled together. And that's what they're drawn to. They're drawn to that imperfect thing. And so I wouldn't judge it because if you called your movie shitty, that's like John Carpenter saying, yeah, nobody liked the thing and
Yeah.
it's a shitty movie and everyone hated it, so it must not be good. And then 10 years later, it's a masterpiece. So don't judge it because words we use on ourselves are very powerful. So if you say, well, I'm kind of an artist sometimes and I make a lot of shitty stuff. Well, that's gonna be your lot in life. You know, I'm in pretty good shape for a
Mhm.
director. It's not because I'm operating the camera, because I work out, right? But I always hated working out. I was not into sports. I was a filmmaker. I was a cartoonist. In high school, I was really tall. They would say, come be in our team. It's a small school. We need you. And I'm like, I don't know how to play any of these things. I'm an artist. There's a line in the faculty that was my line to my coaches when they would say, you got to come run with everybody. I would say, I don't think a person should run unless he's being chased. I gave that to
Good line.
the Elijah Wood character because that's the guy I identified with. He's there with his camera, and that was me. So I hated it. And then because I was a cartoonist, drawing like this for hours, 4 hours, my back would go out, like out for a month. It would just go out from being so tall and crunched over. And then when I started making movies, operating the camera, doing Steadicam, every year would go out to where I would need cortisone shots to get up again if I'm filming or just be out for a month. And on Spy Kids 2, Ricardo Montalban had bad back surgery that went wrong and he was in a wheelchair. So he's in a wheelchair and I'm in a walker.
Mm.
And he's like, I'm 84. What's your excuse? And I was like, I don't know. I just was operating steady. He goes, you have to work out, Robert. You have to work out. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. And so then I thought, okay, next year I'm working with Stallone. I'll ask Stallone. How do you get in shape? Because I need to get in shape. My back's always going out. He goes, get a trainer. Anyone who ever saw in Hollywood got in shape, they had a trainer.
Yeah.
I say, even you? Anybody? Oh, I need a trainer. He has a trainer. So, oh no, I need a trainer. I can't train. It's like, well, shit, if you can't even train on your own, then what do us mortal men have? So I got a trainer, and guess what happened? Hated it. I would feel sick when he's coming over because I hate sport. I hate working out.
Mhm.
And then some years of doing that, I can't stand it. But I know it's good for my health. So the desire's there. So if you can't accomplish something in your life, it's not a lack of desire. Like if you want to be more creative, it's not a lack of desire. It's a lack of identity. Like the fact that you were comfortable about saying creative, it's because there's a lack of identity there.
Mhm.
You have lots of desire. You got to get the identity up, and then suddenly you're making shit.
Mhm.
So a friend of mine from Mexico, she comes over. I have to stop smoking. My doctor said I have to stop smoking for my health, so I have to. So I'm not smoking right now. So I've been smoking since I was 8 years old. I said, well, you're going to go back to smoking because you just told me your identity is a smoker. So right now you're a smoker who's not smoking. What's going to happen eventually? You're going to take one. You have to say I'm a non-smoker. Like just that lesson I had forgotten. You have to say I'm a non-smoker. I'm a non-smoker. Because what does a non-smoker do? If you believe you're a non-smoker, you hate smoke. Start choking at the smell of smoke. Okay, I'll try that. She walks off. And I go, shit, I forgot about my own. I wonder where in my life I could apply that. Working out. Of course, my God, I hate working out. No wonder I am so miserable. I'll tell my trainer and anyone who will listen. I can't stand working out. I don't understand sports. So that day I said, I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I would ever call myself
Yeah.
all through my entire life. This was 2012. I'm an athlete. By the next day, not only did my life completely change, and it's easier if it's opposite day. Like if you're just doing it by degrees, that's bullshit. You got to go complete opposite.
Mhm.
Because if there's like a donut, if you say, well, I'm going to only eat half of it, you got to go, no, I'm going to get an
Yeah.
apple. Opposite day is much easier. Not only did I change my life working out, I didn't ever needed a trainer. I have not had a trainer since all those years. Because I'm an athlete, I'll just do
'Cause
it.
you're an
What does
athlete.
an athlete do? An
Yeah.
athlete loves working
Yeah.
out. An athlete will make
Brilliant.
time to work out
Yeah.
and they'll eat right. I would never be the person that would call themselves an athlete, but that's how much it can change your life by changing your identity. So if you want to be more creative, you've already got that in that desire. You've got enough of that. You don't need more desire.
Yeah.
You need more identity. So you got to say, I'm a creative person with a straight face.
With a straight
So
face,
when
I
I
believe
say,
it.
hey, are you a creative person? You go, yeah. Because then if you say that, what do? You're going to do more creative stuff because that's what a creative person does.
It doesn't make sense to me how manifesting works, but it does seem to work. Like basically visualizing a path towards a certain kind of future. I guess everything around you, everything within you kind of makes way for that, makes way for the possibility of that. It's weird.
It's weird, but it's a kind of a nice to know that you can do that. But you have to just have that conviction and just say, start with a label.
Yeah, the
Start with a
R,
label.
yeah.
The double R or the label you just gave yourself.
Yeah.
Like I changed my label. My label was I hate working out.
I'm an athlete.
I'm an athlete. I'm not a non-athlete anymore. I'm changing my label. And you get so inspired because now you know what to do because you can't help but conform to your identity. You're always going to conform to your identity. So just change your identity and you'll change your life. And it's not that hard. I didn't have to go get hypnotized or anything. It was literally, I just told myself, if I could do that, go from a guy who doesn't want to work out, hates it. I had the desire. I was already hiring the guy. I lacked the identity. As soon as I changed my identity, boom.
Well, one of the things for me like that is probably music, just playing guitar.
Are you a musician?
Yeah, music.
Hey, look at you, stop. You paused.
No,
You're
I would definitely
pausing.
not. I mean, I'm going along with it now, but if we're just in
You
normal
wouldn't have said
conversation, I
that.
wouldn't have said
But
that.
I heard you rip on fucking guitar.
And I've heard you play kind of amazing in all different kind of
Oh,
contexts.
but I should be like freaking Santana by now because I've had a guitar in my hand since I was a kid. But since I'm not a full-time musician, I don't get to play it that often. So I'm not as good as I should be. But, when you apply yourself to just rehearse for, a couple shows, you book some shows. Look at this. This was me just like playing our first arena show opening for George Lopez. That was crazy to be on the stages where your heroes that you saw them and now you're seeing what their point of view was.
Mhm.
It blows your mind. You need to just get on stage. You get on stage once and you'll see that it's not as bad as you think.
You're not like terrified because you're playing pretty complicated things. I've seen you play live.
Yeah, and I mess up a bunch of times,
And you
but you don't want
spell
to focus on that. You just go like, okay, I got to do it. Because when you're up there, it's not that you're like screaming nervous, but your hands just won't work anymore.
yeah.
Something will happen. But that happens to everybody. If you really watch even the best in their live performances, watch really close, and you see they screw up a couple things, but you just won't know
Yeah,
because they
just
just go
roll
right
with
through
it.
it.
Just
It's
roll
like
with
it's about the live performance, and that's how you know it's real. So
it.
I
Yeah.
think if you can really just lean into it more, really work on the identity part because you've got the desire, you want to play guitar, but as soon as you say, "Yeah, but I can't play live," you just chopped off your leg at the start of the race. If you say, I don't know," you just chopped off your other.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
doing this to yourself.
yeah,
You're literally doing this to yourself. I mean just you. I mean
yeah.
anybody who's just
Broadly
like
speaking,
who
yeah.
who pauses, who hesitates. You don't have to have doubts. Why would you have a doubt? Because you know the process now. It's like if I don't know how to do something, I know how to figure it out. Like I didn't know how I was going to do that scene with him jumping and flipping. I didn't know that, but do I have doubt that I'm going to go in there and be able to do it? If you say that you do, you're a doubtful person. That's how powerful that is. But if you say no, I don't have any doubt because I know I'm going to figure it out when I get there. Somehow it'll fall in my lap. I trust the process. You don't have to know. So if you trust the process that you'll figure it out.
But here's the thing, like sometimes you fail and there's audience.
Yeah, then you get 4 rooms. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
then what happens? And then
don't
what
blink,
happens?
right? Don't blink. Is the
Don't blink, and then you go sift through the failure,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you go, "Wait a minute, what did I get out of that?"
Yeah, I've done that a bunch.
You
It
know,
is
I mean,
great.
look, what's the worst that can happen? You go on a stage and you bum. It's not going to be the first stage. And it's one of those you can talk about so that when you do the next one and sometimes they all go right. I've had a couple of shows. We did a couple of shows where we had video cameras set up for the second day. Let's not film the first day because we're going to be just finding our feet. Let's film the second day. First day, it was fucking flawless.
Of course.
Flawless because
Of
no
course.
cameras. It's like
Of
you just go.
course. Yeah.
Second day, we weren't as into it because we had just done it. It felt like the second take, it just didn't have the
Yeah.
magic. And that's the one that's recorded. And we're like, oh, kicking ourselves. We didn't film both nights. We should have filmed both nights.
I love how much of a mess this human existence life is.